On today's show, the Dallas Mavericks can and absolutely will win this series against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I'm going to tell you why in today's Locked On
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is
Mavs.
Locked On Mavericks podcast.
Mavericks, NBA champions. Bang! It's good, and the Mavericks have won the game.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Loyalty never fades away.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being part of the show and making Locked On Mavs your first listen today, where the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day on any podcast platform. Give it a 5-star review, like the video on YouTube, and comment anything on YouTube below. Comment. Give me a vibe check. Scale of 0 to 5. 0 feeling no way the Mavs win this series. Mavs aren't going to win this next game. 5 being no doubt. Absolutely the Mavs are winning this series. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use that code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply at Game Time. Today, we're talking about if the Mavericks can win this series. What could repeat in Game 5 from Game 4? We'll talk about some of those things. And I really want to get into, can Luka and Kyrie give the Mavs enough to win 2 more games? Because that's what it is. It's a brand new series right now. Can they give them enough to win 2 more games in this one? I'm fascinated to see that. But I want to start here. I want to start here with a vibe check. Where do people feel with this Dallas Mavericks team right now? Because coming into this series, there's some mixed thoughts, because this Thunder team's 57 wins. This Thunder team is top 5, top 6 in offensive defensive rating. After their Game 3 win, the Mavericks Game 3 win, I came on this very show and I said, don't overlook how difficult it was for the Mavericks to get those 2 wins over the Thunder. This is a good Thunder team. For as young as they are, for as inexperienced as they are, for however much you want to use that excuse or however much you want to use that reason, this Thunder team is good. And for the Mavericks to get 2 wins was great for them to get that. And now, after a loss, and especially after a bad one in Game 4, you have to look at it kind of the same way. Man, they split them 2-2. Series hasn't started yet. Some people say that. Series doesn't start until the road team wins. Well, the road team has won in both instances, but they're 2-2 now after 4 games. So it's a brand new series. Starts over. But the Mavericks got 2 wins against this team, and they've tied it up. And the Mavericks got 2 wins, but they also outplayed the Thunder for 44 out of 48 minutes in Game 4. And it came down to the end where they really made a ton of mistakes, missed a bunch of free throws, did some weird things, and the Thunder got some really, really great things in their favor. Can those things happen again? Sure. It's the playoffs, man. Anything can happen in this. But when I start to look at this, I start to look at, all right, there's 2 factions of Mavs fans right now. The Mavericks are done. It's over. Can't win. Luka's injury is too bad. Kyrie's not giving him enough on offense. This team just can't recover from where they are right now. The Thunder are going to be too good. SGA is too good, all that. And then there's the other side where I feel good about this series. I feel good about where they are. I feel good about that the Mavericks can win this. And I'm telling you, I'm with that group right now. Maybe it's slightly biased, rubbing off on me. Maybe it's his feeling about how this is going, but I feel good about this series because you start to look around at the things that the reasons why the Mavericks lost Game 1 and Game 4. Game 1, Thunder came out. All the energy, all the passion, week off, playing at home, dog pound, everybody barking. Home playoff game, 2nd round. This team coming out ready to go. Mavs, 15 turnovers. The Thunder, 46% from 3. Hit 16 out of 35 threes. Hit 21 out of 28 free throws. They had the weird free throw quarter in quarter 2 where the Thunder were getting a bunch of free throws their way. Luka went 6 of 19. His worst shooting game in a while, it felt like, but a really bad shooting game, under 30% or just about at 30% shooting from Luka. And the Thunder go out and they win that game pretty handily. And so then you go, all right, well, are the Thunder just going to roll over this Mavericks team? They're playing the way that the Thunder want to play. They're playing up and down. They're getting transition buckets with Mavs turnovers. They're getting their 3-point shots. The Thunder are the best 3-point shooting team in the NBA by percentage. They're playing their game. And then something happened. In Game 2, the Mavs switched it up. And the Mavs now have been playing this muck-it-up style of game. Just look at the total points. Thunder scored 117 points in Game 1, and they didn't really have to play that hard towards the end of it. Didn't Jason Kidd call it? Jason Kidd called it with like 5 minutes and 14 seconds left in game one. I remembered it correctly. They score 117 in game one. And then the Mavericks change it up. Thunder only score 110 in game two. Then the Thunder score 101 in game three and only 100 in their win in game four. The Mavs are playing their kind of basketball. The Mavs have got the Thunder playing the way that the Mavs want to play. If you dictate what the series is going to be, and if you dictate how you're going to play, and you play the way that you can win games, I think more likely than not, the Mavericks are going to win those games. What about you? That's what I feel like with this. The more I think about game four, the more I watch some clips, and the more I go back and watch some of it, I kind of feel good about game four because it's things that the Mavericks can control. Why did the Mavericks lose game four? As badly as we feel, as awful of a loss as that was, as terrible as the Mavericks played at the end, as weird as some of the decisions and things the Mavs did at the end were, why did the Mavs lose? The Mavs lost because they shot 50% from the free throw line. Well, that's probably not going to happen again. And the Thunder shot 23 of 24 from the free throw line. Chet's the only one that missed one. And he goes on the stand afterwards and he goes, oh, dang, I was the only one to miss one? Ah, dang. Like as nonchalant as he could be. And remember I said in game one, they lost because Luka shot 6 of 19 from the field, 30%. Well, guess what the other game he shot 30% from the field was? Game 4, he shot 6 of 20, his worst shooting game so far in the playoffs. So Luka, so far, the 2 games he shot 30% from the field, they lost. The game he shot 41%, great number, they won that one. The game he shot 52% and he went crazy and hit a bunch of threes, they won that one. If Luka plays a normal basketball game for Luka, they will win the games. I'm standing on that because I think that that's what it is. Mavs have figured out enough elsewhere. SGA's given the Thunder exactly what he can give them every single time. He's been so consistent. He's been awesome. Kyrie and Jalen Williams have been playing to kind of a standstill for the two of them. But if Luka can give you what Luka can give you in the playoffs, If Luka can give you what Luka can give you in the regular season or a regular Luka game, they win. It can't be what Luka can give you in the playoffs because, man, we got to remind some people. Like, I think as fans, you're supposed to like preach the gospel of the players that you cover or the players that you love that are on your team. But like, we can't forget what Luka has been in the playoffs. Think about some of the games Luka has had in the playoffs. Luka has had 8 40-point games. He's played 38 games. He's had 8 40-point games in the playoffs. Luka has had some absolutely amazing games. And Luka has also had some bad games, and those have mostly been in this round so far. He scored 18 points, his second lowest total in the playoffs. Total in his whole career. Another loss against OKC, he scored 19. So Luka's 2 lowest scoring output games of his entire playoff career have been in these losses. That's why I look at these games and I go, you know what? If Luka just plays a normal game, doesn't turn the ball over 7 times, then the Mavericks can win these games. And that's where I'm starting to feel like with this. If the Mavericks control the things that they've already controlled, they don't lose more stuff. You can't start losing some more stuff. You control the things that you can control. Turnovers, free throws made, fouls committed. The other thing is that the Mavericks lost the games that the Thunder got more free throws. The Thunder went 21 of 28 in game 1 from the free throw line. They won that one. They went 23 of 24 on the free throw line and won game 4. So 28 attempts and 24 attempts. In the Mavs wins, the Thunder went 16 of 17 and 15 of 19. So even just the difference in the amount of free throws, like it's the chances that the Thunder can get. If the Mavs control the chances the Thunder get, some of it is controlled by the refs. I can hear all of you. I can hear all of you right in my head right now that yes, it is controlled by the refs in some way. That yes, maybe Lou Dort gets some extra possessions here and there for them. But I think that if the Mavericks control the things that they can control, and if Luka Doncic comes out there and plays even a normal Luka Doncic game, they win these games. And that's why the vibe check for me is I'm at a 5. I feel good about this series. I feel good about the way the Mavericks can play. I feel good that the Mavericks will come back and respond to Game 5 and in Game 5. And coming up, I'm going to tell you why Luka and Kyrie can give them more. I'm going to talk about Luka and Kyrie giving them more to win these games. Let's talk about what they both can do coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by Betterhelp. Everyone has things in their life that you just need to talk about, you need to work through. I've had some really big things in my life that have been going through big changes, things like that, and I have desperately needed somebody to talk to. I've used BetterHelp in the past. I love the service. I love that you can go on BetterHelp. You can pick your therapist, and then if you don't really vibe with them at first, we're doing the vibe check for Locked On Mavs, Locked On Mavs versus Thunder. If you don't vibe with them, you can change at any time, and they understand that. They know that you want to find somebody that you really work with. So if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, to suit your schedule, all that kind of stuff. Fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist. Switch therapists at any time, like I said, for no additional charge. So get it off your chest with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, listening every day. We appreciate each and every one of you for checking out the show, listening a 5-day-a-week Dallas Mavericks show all throughout the offseason, the regular season, the playoffs, all that. We've been here. I've been doing this since 2017. Nobody has done more. I would venture this. No one has done more Mavericks podcast episodes than I have. So if you want an endorsement for myself, there it is. That's what I got for you. All right, we're talking about the vibe check. Where are you? Scale of 0 to 5. If you're confident the Mavs can win this series, or if you're feeling down about the way that the Mavericks have lost some of these games. I'm feeling confident because I feel like, although the Thunder are a good team, and I talked about it, I feel like some of the ways they've won these games have been a little fluky. Some of the ways the Thunder have won Game 1 and Game 4 have been fluky. And you know what? I can hear Nick Crane, shout out to Nick Crane, in my head going, oh, how biased. How biased. But I feel like the two things that matter the most, we talked about this after Game 4, are Luka and Kyrie. After Game 3, I did a whole episode right here for you guys that said the reason why the Mavericks won these two games is because Luka and Kyrie. They gave them clutch buckets. They have given them veteran leadership. They've given them great defense. They've given them exactly what they've needed to win. In Game 4, they did not get those things. All the things that I gave Luka and Kyrie credit for, they did not give them those things. And so my question now is, can Luka and Kyrie give the Mavs enough to get 2 more wins against OKC? Luka, we talked about him earlier. He's got to shoot better. In Game 1, he had 19 points, 6 of 19 from the field. They lost. He had 9 assists, 5 turnovers. In Game 4, he had 18 points, 10 assists, 7 turnovers. He shot 6 of 20 from the field. He didn't give him enough. The counting stats have to be there for Luka. He's got to give him enough scoring. He's got to shoot the ball well enough, and he's got to limit the turnovers. Guess what he did in Games 2 and 3? 29 points in Game 2, 7 assists, 1 turnover, shot 11 of 22 from the field. That was his really good shooting game where he hit a bunch of threes. Game 3, 22 points, a little bit more than Games 1 and 4, but he was 7 of 17, 5 assists, 4 turnovers, limited the turnovers there, and the Mavs just played a different game, and they won that one. He gave them the clutch buckets that they needed, gave them the defense that they needed. When Luka gives them what they need, they can win the game. I just want you to take that away today. If Luka can give them what they need, but now that's the question. Can Luka give them what they need? I don't know that any one person on the planet can answer that. Because I think Luka would look at that answer and he would say, can I give them what they need? I think Luka would say absolutely effing yes. And he would say it in Slovenian, that I can give you what you need. I think Luka always thinks that. And you know what? That's why he can. That's why Luka is the way that he is. Because he looks at a scenario and he goes, can I give this team enough? Can I give this team enough to win? And he says yes every single time. And I think that's why he got so frustrated after the end of last season, where the Mavericks missed the entire postseason. It's not good. It's, really bad vibes. You look at Luka and he looks frustrated because I don't think he thought that the rest of the team can give him what he needed to win. And he's like, I can't do it all. If I can't do it all, I got to have the rest of my teammates come with me. And he didn't have it all. So the vibes were down. Now, team's kind of propping him up a little bit. It's completely reversed, which is wild. And now Luka's got to come through. If he doesn't, then the Mavs won't win the series. That's the NBA. If your stars don't come through, you don't win the series. You look at some of the games that happened in this. The Knicks win against the Pacers in Game 5. What does Jalen Brunson do? He has 44. You look at the Nuggets. They win Game 5. What does Jokic do? 40 and 13 assists. It's got to be on the stars. Can Luka give you enough? Does he have enough on that knee? Does he have enough on that ankle? Does he have enough on the injuries right now? Can he give you enough? He did in Game 2. He did in Game 3. He's proven he can do it. He's done it in the past, and I feel confident that Luka can give you what he needs. Unless something gets worse with the injury. That's the only thing. If you start looking through it and say, man, well, all of a sudden it gets worse, and then he's limited even more. That's something that we can't control, which is why I don't think anybody on the planet can answer the question fully and truly and 100% if Luka can give you what you need. But I'm going to venture out and say that he can. And while we're at it, let me take a second and just say we have not given Luka enough credit for fighting all the way through these injuries. Joel Embiid goes out there, looks bad, all this, and everybody gives him a bunch of credit. Luka goes out there, and a hit piece is dropped on Luka about handling the ball too much, not affecting winning, and all this. Come on. We're moving the goalposts here. Luka's coming out, playing the way that he's playing. He's dealing with this injury, and no one's giving him any extra credit for it. Now, they are giving him a pass in a way. They're giving him a pass because no one's holding him to, well, he's not being Luka. I think that everybody knows at this point. And if they don't, then they're not watching. They don't pay attention. They haven't seen the Luka that we've seen all his whole career. You and I know that we've seen Luka play much better than he's played in these games. Shot the ball better, closer to the rim. All that. We know he's played better. And so I'm going to give him some credit right now for being a warrior, going out there and fighting through some of these injuries. Luka, I think he can give you what you need. Kyrie. Here's the thing about Kyrie. This series is completely different than I thought. There's one thing that I've been completely wrong about in this series, and that's I thought Kyrie would give you exactly what he gave you in the Clippers series. He can go out there, get his points whenever he wants. That has not been the case. The Thunder have put Jalen Williams on him, and Jalen Williams has done an excellent job. I underrated Jalen Williams' defense for sure. Cason Wallace, great. The only player I've seen that's blocked Kyrie's transition three-point attempt. He did it in Game 4. I was shocked. But Jalen has done a great job on him. The Thunder have also sent help every single time to Kyrie. Anytime he turns the corner, a second guy is coming there. A second guy is coming right to Kyrie. And because of that, the game plan that the Thunder have decided to employ, PJ Washington is open. Josh Green is open. Other guys have been open because of it. Derrick Jones Jr. is open. And so you have these weird games for Kyrie where it doesn't look it's not as clean as what Luka's are, where you look at Luka's and you go, oh, the counting stats aren't there in games 1 and 4 and they lose, but the counting stats are there in game 2 and 3 and they win. For Kyrie in game 1, he had 20 points, 7 of 14. And you're like, it just didn't have enough. Game 2, 9 points, but 11 assists because they're cutting off all the scoring for him, but they're giving him the passing lanes. Only 2 of 8 from the field. They lose that, or they win that one. Game 3, 22 points, 7 assists, 10 of 17 from the field. Great stuff from him. Game 4, 9 points, 9 assists, only 4 of 11 from the field. What Kyrie needs to do, and to answer the question, can Kyrie give you enough to get 2 more wins? What Kyrie needs to do is to go to the coaching staff and say, hey, call my number more. Now, Kyrie is in charge of calling his number during the games. That happens. But I think the coaching staff needs to throw him a bone, give him some opportunities. Give him some ways to get this. And I think he needs to start with the ball a couple more times to assert his dominance, to assert him as the star. And I fully expect him to do that in Game 5. That's something that I am not concerned about. I really think that he is going to give you what you need in Game 5. Because I think that he has, throughout this whole season, if you look at what Kyrie has brought to the table, when the Mavs need something, Kyrie gives it to you. Right now, he's giving you some elite defense. He's outplaying Jalen Williams in one-on-one in that spot. And I think that's been great. But when the Mavs needed a bucket, he gives it to you. In Game 4, he missed a couple of them. And he came up short in that sense. But throughout the whole season, not just one game, throughout the whole season, if you need a bucket, Kyrie will give it to you. And right now, you need a couple buckets. So if I'm going to believe in Kyrie in one moment, in one game in the regular season to give you what you need, I'm going to believe him in Game 5. I feel like I'm preaching today because I feel like a lot of Mavs fans are real down bad, and I was like, I'm bringing us right out of this. I'm bringing you right out of this. I think Luka and Kyrie can give you enough. I think they can give you what they need to win 2 more games, and that's what it comes down to. So coming up, let's talk about some other things that happened in Game 4, what will be repeatable, and why the Mavs can still win 2 more games. We'll talk about some of those reasons and more things like that coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Check out the Game Time app and see what is available. They have all kinds of stuff. I used it recently. I went to the Bad Bunny concert, and I was able to check out Game Time and check out how the ticket prices drop as it gets closer to the event. Love that. Love that you look one time and it's one price, and another and it's another. You got to keep checking back on Game Time. They have that priority last-minute deal. Save up to 60% off buying last-minute tickets for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more stuff like that. They have zone deals, too. Save even more when you choose a section and let Game Time choose the seats. Sometimes you're like, I don't really care where I sit, but I just want this section and just this area. You can toggle and see all-in pricing. I love that too. So it shows you all the fees and stuff, so nothing really scares you at the end. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Get them for NBA games, get them for anything else. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Again, terms apply. Create an account, redeem that code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. I definitely hit the wrong button on this program. If you're watching on video, that was not the bumper track. All right, Isaac, let's get into a couple of things that happened in Game 4 that I think the Mavericks can fix. So we talked about some of the things earlier. What went wrong in Game 4? Mavs had a 14.6 turnover rate. That's 30th percentile. It's very, very bad. The Mavericks need to not turn the ball over as much. They need to take care of business. And the Mavericks have been very good at that for years. They've been good at taking care of the ball. They've been good at not causing turnovers. And that's what gets Oklahoma City into their 17.7% transition rate, which is very good. 85th percentile. So the Mavs turn it over a bunch. The Thunder get in transition a bunch. Classic basketball problem. The Mavericks can control that. The Mavericks can be a little bit more careful with the ball, and everybody had issues with it. Felt like everybody was giving up turnovers. Everybody was turning the ball over a little bit. Luka had 7. That was huge. But PJ Washington had 3. As good as he's been and as much as he's given the Mavericks, he can't give you 3 turnovers. Derek Jones Jr. gave you 1. Tim Hardaway gave you 1 that was really bad at the end of the game. And Kyrie also had 1 as well. Control that. Control what you give. And also control the types of turnovers too. You can't be testing stuff, trying stuff. You've got to be really sure and clean with the basketball. The Mavericks shot 13 of 27 at the rim in Game 4. That is 48%, my friend. 48%. That is the 15th percentile. That is very low. That's very bad. The Mavericks did not shoot the ball well at the rim at all. You had Lively that missed some opportunities. You had Luka that missed a bunch of opportunities. And that's another thing that goes along with free throw percentage. Usually at the rim and the free throws. Those are the ones where you're like, those are the things we want because we shoot well there. Well, the Mavericks didn't shoot well there. If the Mavs hadn't missed as many opportunities and hit well at the rim and made some free throws, maybe we're talking about the Mavs being up 3-1 right now. And that's why I think that it was a little fluky for the Thunder to win Game 4. Come at me, Thunder fans. I'm ready for it. Here are some reasons the Mavs can still win 2 more games. The Mavs have the plan. The Mavs have mucked it up. The Mavs have slowed it down. The Mavs have limited the Thunder's 3-point shots. The Mavericks have removed Josh Giddey from the situation. The Mavericks have made Lou Dort and Josh Giddey be the Thunder's 3-point shooters. The Mavs have made SGA a one-on-one free throw and a free throw merchant. Yes, I'm going for it because I think that he can give you a lot, and SGA has been awesome, and he was incredible in Game 4. Obviously, one of the reasons why they won. But if the Mavs don't make the same kind of mistakes that they made in Game 4, then maybe we're not talking about SGA as much right now. The Mavs have the plan. Their defense is still elite. They can still give you some elite defense on that side. They've held the Thunder. They held them to 100 points in their win. The Mavs defense is coming up big. Luka and Kyrie are giving you enough on defense to win these games. It's been awesome to watch these two guys play defense. You can start looking at it and you realize that the Mavericks are right back to where they were in 2022, where as soon as you lock in on defense, it's kind of hard to get out of it. But Luka has waffled in and out a little bit, but Kyrie is giving you some elite defense. The Mavs, 2 stars, have really locked in on defense, and the defense has been elite for the Mavericks. I think the Mavs also have more horses than the Thunder do at this point. You start looking through the options for the Thunder, and you've got SGA, Chet, Jalen Williams. Got Lou Dort, who's been in and out. Josh Giddey, who's been kind of not as effective. Casey Wallace gives you good defense, but he's not going to create offense for you and things like that. Isaiah Joe can hit some shots, but he hasn't been. Aaron Wiggins, again, can hit some shots, but he really hasn't. Then you got Jalen Williams. They went to Kenrich Williams. They've gone to Gordon Hayward. They just don't have as much offensive creators besides SGA and Jalen Williams, who hasn't been that great so far in this series. Chet has created some offense for himself, but they're losing offensive creators. On the Mavericks side, they're also losing some offensive creators. We got Luka and Kyrie, who both have had double-digit assist games in this. They can still create. Even if they're not shooting the ball well, they still have created for their teammates. PJ Washington stepped up in a huge way. Has been the best player in the series some games, some quarters, some moments. He's been great. You've got stuff from Gafford. You got stuff from Lively. You've got a couple things from Derek Jones and Josh Green. And you've got a game from Tim Hardaway where you won that one. You've got some things from these guys. So I think the Mavericks have less has been taken away from the Mavericks. Let me put it that way. Less has been taken away from the Mavericks, and I think that they can get win. The Mavericks are still getting their corner threes too, and I think that's key for the Mavericks too. You look at the three-point shooting, and when the Mavs have controlled the three-point battle, they have won the games. If the Mavericks can keep doing that, that's not as much in their control, but they're making the Thunder shoot the threes that they don't really want to, and the Mavs are getting the threes that they do want with the corner threes and things like that. As long as they're still getting those, I think they can still win these next two games, and I think they can win this series. And the last one, I'm reiterating my point from before. Luka and Kyrie can give you more. You can't tell me that Kyrie is giving you 20 points, 9 points, 22 points, and 9 points, and he's going to be fine with that. Right? You're telling me Kyrie's going to shoot 14 shots in one game, 8 in another, 11 in another, and he's just going to be okay? I think he'll give you more. Still think he can give you more. Call me crazy because I'm believing in it after 4 games of seeing this series. He's been defended differently. I understand that. But if you think the Mavericks can win, you have to believe that Kyrie can give you more on offense and score more. And I think Luka can give you more too. Back to my original point at the beginning of all this. If Luka can shoot a normal percentage, the Mavs have won the games. When Luka shoots 30%, they have lost both games. Maybe it's as simple as that. Maybe it's as simple as Luka and the Mavs star player being slightly effective. Talk about slightly biased. How about being slightly effective? I think the Mavs plan, their defense, and all that can give them 2 more wins in this series. I'm confident in it. I'm feeling good about it. And Game 5 is going to tell us, man. We're going to see what can happen in Game 5. The Mavs have had 1 day off. They travel up to OKC. We'll see what happens in this. And going up 3-2 is huge. Huge. This is a big swing game. Game 5s are massive. And so I'm really, really looking to see what this team can do. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me. On Locked On Mavs. We'll be back tomorrow. I may be with Slightly, I may be not. I'm here on a work trip, and so I'm trying to figure out what my recording schedule is going to be, but I will absolutely have an episode after the game at some point. So, guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs. Peace out. Boom!